What is up, guys? All right, they invited me to speak at Blade Show 2023. This is my presentation. We've got the whole thing on video. Let's go. My name is Ben Peterson. If you don't know me in the knife industry, I worked at Blade HQ. I started my career doing YouTube marketing. I moved to CRKT doing digital marketing, email marketing, all of those fun things. I went back to Blade HQ for another stint as their digital marketing manager. We did a whole bunch of fun stuff there. And then I moved into corporate America and managed Amazon accounts in like Panasonic and like makeup and brands you've probably heard of and brands you haven't, but got to experience the Amazon world. And now I run my own small business out of my garage called knafs with my wife and a few employees. So the reason I am here is I was searching one day for Maura Eldris on Google. I just pulled it up on my phone. I searched for Maura Eldris, and I noticed something really interesting. Maura Eldris, the first ranking after the ads was an Amazon listing. And then I was like, oh, that's sad, because Maura owns their brand, right? And so I was like, I posted on Instagram, and then Alicia from Blade Show was like, do you want to present on that? And I was like, oh, this will be dicey. But I got digging. Check this out. Wow, that's a really bad slide, but you get the idea. This is a Spyderco Tenacious listing. Your first listing is Blade HQ. First search result, Blade HQ. Second is Amazon. Third is Spyderco. If you're Spyderco, does this look good? No, it's terrible, right? Like, it's your brand. You should rank first on Google. Like, that to me is non-negotiable. If you own a brand, you should rank first, unless your strategy is different. And we can talk through that as well. I started looking across the entire industry. SOG Flash 2, Dick's Sporting Goods is ranking. Knife Informer is ranking, which is a content site. That's cool for him, bad for SOG. So I'm coming at it from a brand perspective, but I've also worked on the retail side. I've worked on the Amazon side. So I understand all of these pieces, and I saw this stuff, and I'm like, whoa, the knife industry has a hole here where people need to learn how SEO works. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Gerber Paraframe has the same issue. I'm going to pick on Lucas Burnley here in the front just a little bit with his permission. Thank you, Luke. Lucas and I have been friends for a long time. The first time I met Lucas, he handed me a Cypop from his pocket. If you're familiar with the Cypop, it is a knuckle bottle opener. And I was like, this is cool. And then I realized, like, whoa, there's an entire community built around this product. I saw this, and I thought, oh, now that's interesting. Blade HQ ranks first and second. Lucas Burnley ranks third. Now, that could be a strategic decision. If it is, totally good. If it's not, there's work to be done here, right? If this is his brand, he should own it, right? We'll talk about that case study here in a minute. Other things that as I started preparing this presentation, it got crazy. How many of you have seen fake stuff on Instagram? Fake accounts, right? Reef knives. This is one of my products, got rejected on Meta on Facebook. This is SE Knives, got their entire Facebook shut down along with Shane Adams' personal Facebook for 8 months. They had to like basically buy somebody off inside of Facebook to, not buy him off. Shane wouldn't like me to say it that way. But literally he had to network with somebody inside of Facebook to get their account back. PayPal, Scorpion 6 Knives got shut down. Is anybody using PayPal? How many of you have been shut down? Yes, fun. Good times with PayPal.
Square 2.
Square 2, we'll talk about Square just a little bit. And Stripe, yes. All of the payment processors are a problem for us. This is from Justin Lundquist. As I started doing this presentation, all this stuff came to me. Justin Lundquist got kicked off of Shopify Payments. He's like, what should I do? Well, we'll talk about that a little bit. Blade HQ got totally hacked, their entire site, for like 3 to 4 months. This was a couple years ago, 2021. Another one that hit really close to home, I nearly sent a $9,000 wire transfer to the wrong place. What happened is I was trying to send it, and the email had been changed. Somebody had intercepted it in China, and I almost sent the wire transfer to the wrong place. Talk about a pit in your stomach. We're going to talk about that stuff too. Let's talk about AI for a minute. Microsoft says new AI shows signs of human reasoning. That's terrifying. What about this one? AI poses risk of extinction. That was literally on the New York Times like 2 days ago. So I don't know about you guys, but maybe we need that survival website, and we'll just all hang on tight here.
It's only 10% though.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
It's like rounding error.
Oh man, it's a very, very interesting time, and I think that's why I'm telling you that what I'm teaching is concepts, not instructions. Every single day, this whole game is changing, And you need to be able to think about the game and what it means for your individual business. Because the reality is I can't give you instructions for your business. I can give you concepts. You have to learn them yourself. Let's dive into this. That's a lot for everybody. I look at that and I'm like, oh, what do you do with that? Take small steps. I want you to think about where your business is now and then take a small step, right? Maybe it's installing a password manager. Maybe it's getting your email list together. I don't know. What are the small steps that you need to do? Don't get overwhelmed with it. We're going to go through a lot of stuff and we're going to do it fast. 4 things I want you to remember coming out of this. I want you to own what is yours. I want you to run your own race, have a plan, and leave fingerprints. We're going to talk through all of those, starting with own what is yours. So let's talk about what is yours online. This is owned land. I call it owned land because you are the owner of these things. You own your website, your email list, your text messaging, your blog, forum, wiki, and the content itself. You don't own the distribution. So this is all rented land. If you're on a marketplace, your SEO ranking is also rented. It can change overnight. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. If those are your distribution methods for your content, you own your content, but somebody can pull the rug out from under you tomorrow. What you gonna do? You gonna get in touch with Facebook? No. You gonna get in touch with Amazon? They don't care. Like, submit a seller support case. They'll get back to you in 2 days. It is a very interesting ecosystem because we have all put our lives into big tech's hands, which is fine. Like, we get a lot of benefit from it, but you have to recognize that it's rented land. So owned land is where I would encourage you to put your time and effort. Use the rented land to distribute that. And obviously you've got to have a flag planted in these places, but I would encourage you to put the most of your time into the owned land and the things that you can control instead of the things that are rented, because eventually they could evict you from any of those. For whatever reason, right? Shane Adams got kicked off of Facebook, and he still doesn't know why for the SE account. It's crazy. But I think that gave them the opportunity to start a podcast, and it's something that now they own. So think about it that way. What can you own and what can you not own? I need you to understand that the internet is a business. We all take that for granted, right? These are companies that we all use every day. They're all publicly traded. Their stocks go up, their stocks go down. If you notice, most of their stocks have been down the last year or so. They're going to make decisions based on their bottom line, and those decisions may not be good for your bottom line. So think about that too. Here's how Google works, and I realize we're on all different levels here, so for some of you, you're going to be like, of course, Ben, this is how Google works. But some of you, this will be really helpful. There are sponsored results at the top. These are paid placements or ads. You bid, pay, and you win the bid. The highest bidder wins. Google made $162 billion in ad revenue from that last year. Down here, you have organic results. This is your first organic result. These are sponsored results. Those are pay to play. Most of you are locked out of that because you sell pocket knives or pocket knife accessories. So forget about that, because if you're trying to sell an automatic knife, like, you don't get to come in this kingdom. This is gonzo. You do, however, get to play in organic search results. And the way that works is Google crawls, indexes, and serves that content. Usually the most useful content wins according to Google's standards. Okay? So let's dive into that just a little bit. Google, they crawl, index, and then serve the content. And this is direct from Google. They have stated this is what we do. So if you think about it that way, I think a lot of people look at algorithms as these grand mysteries. They're not mysteries. They tell you how the algorithms work. They will give you information. They're not going to give you all the specifics, but then you can learn and test and try things. So what they do is they crawl your content. They crawl the entire internet. They index it, so they put it in a big library, and then when somebody searches, they serve it. So the user search, decides, and then clicks or buys. You'll notice there's a big gaping hole in the middle. Google does not create. They serve. They index. They crawl. The user doesn't do any of those things either. They're a consumer. So in the middle of this whole thing, you have a big fat hole that is you. This is what you do. You create, optimize, and retain to take these three facets of what Google's doing to be able to use them for the user, right? The end user. So create, you're going to make relevant content, images, videos, category structure. We'll talk about that. A sitemap, title tags, meta descriptions. You can literally spend days and days talking about SEO. That is all part of create. Optimize. You want people to stay on your site. You want your click-through rate to be good. Backlinks, keywords, load time, all of those things. And then you want to keep people on your site. My big tip for that is be useful. So in the back, we had the survival site. You should be the best dang survival site in the world. Like, what do I need to know about it? Write about it. Put it in your product descriptions. If you're knife materials, well, what is micarta? What is G10? What kind of fiberglass do they use? What kind of resin do they use? Like, get into the nitty gritties so that if somebody's looking for something, you are the most useful person on the internet for that thing. I think a lot of times we just slap things. Who slaps things online? You're just like, I'm a slap it online kind of guy. Sometimes I'm just like, I got 20 things to do and I'm just gonna throw this listing up. I'm not gonna keyword optimize, I'm just gonna do it. It's not bad, but it's not good either. You have content, but you need to go and optimize that content because this is what the user's gonna do and somebody else is gonna win it if you are not putting it out there the very best that you can. I'm gonna watch this video. This is actually from Paul's employer, I think. Is that right, Paul? You didn't know this was coming. I love it. This is a video, and I've linked to it at the bottom if you wanna watch the full thing. This is mostly a vocabulary video. So as we watch this video, I want you to think about what vocabulary you know and what vocabulary you don't know. It's pretty quick. I think it's about 60 seconds.
And in today's video, we're gonna go through my top tips on how to generate more website traffic rapidly.
Number 1, do keyword research. Number 2, identify long tail keywords. Number 3, use local modifiers in your content. Number 4, target phrases with commercial intent. Number 5, research related keywords. Number 6, research question-based keywords. Number 7, analyze competitor keywords. Number 8, keep an eye out on keyword difficulty. Number 9, own your brand's keywords. Number 10, find keywords using Reddit or Quora. Number 11, use keywords in your title tags. Number 12, use keywords in your headings. Number 13, use keywords in your URLs. Number 14, use keywords in your content with at least 3% keyword density. Number 15, use keywords in your meta descriptions. Number 75, utilize heat mapping tools like Hotjar. Number 76, create a keyword gap analysis with your top competitors. Number 77, perform regular technical SEO audits to resolve issues. Number 78, add an anonymous poll on your website for visitor feedback. Number 79, track a competitor's rankings. Number 80, monitor your backlinks and disavow spam links.
So if this video doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. You need to learn the language, right? Because if somebody says change your meta tag, somebody says change your meta description, what does that mean? If you don't know what that means, you need to go learn the vocabulary. It's just like, what is a choil? What is a handle steel? What is a blade steel? Like, what's S35V and what's vanadium? All of these things that we speak as knife people, you need to learn the language of SEO so that you can watch a video like this and actually understand what they're saying. There's great advice in here, but it's 80 tips on how to improve your site. And if you don't speak that language, you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm out. Like, that's the truth of it. And so I would encourage you to learn the language and then use resources like this because there are so many free resources online to learn this stuff. But you have to get the language down. You have to be able to speak it before you're ever going to be able to communicate in search engine optimization or YouTube algorithms or all of those different things. I'm gonna dive into this SciPop case study. I asked Lucas beforehand, he's a good sport, old friend, good sport, and I wanna walk through how he could potentially own the SciPop keyword. Now, this is not me dogging on Blade HQ. They've done a lot of business together. You've seen a lot of good things from it. If that's where you want your listing to be, cool. Blade HQ ranks first, second, Lucas Burnley ranks third. If I were in that situation, I would want to rank first because this is part of my brand, the SciPop, okay? So, SciPop is ranking right here. If the end goal is to rank first in the SERPs, the search engine results page, move it up here, we need to do some things around this. And I dug into Lucas's site. He's got a couple things on his site, not a lot of content around the SciPop. So the SciPop needs a top-level category page. This is where everything wraps up, okay? So I'm gonna make a page that's lucasburnley.com, burnleyknives.com/SciPop. Boom, start there. From there, we're gonna make a tree here, and this is what this is gonna look like. I know about custom SciPops, so I'm gonna make a page with every single custom SciPop ever made. Maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's a product detail page, it's a category page with everything I've ever made. I don't know. I'm gonna throw it up there, and that's gonna be my second page. Next, I'm going to do SciPop Contras. These are made by Blade HQ, so I'll probably link out to Blade HQ, but I need a page because I own it. It's mine. Next, I'm going to do a SciPop History blog page. I'm going to then do a SciPop for Tots. Lucas used to do this big thing where they would collect money and then they would buy all this stuff. It's super cool. It's discontinued now, but that's a part of the story. So I'm going to make a page about that. Then I'm going to go do some shop video, shop tour. I'm going to make a blog post about how SciPops are made. Then I'm going to internally link all of these together with keywords. So on custom SciPops, I'm going to have that under SciPop History. SciPop History is going to link over there. All of these things are going to internally link together because what I'm doing is I'm telling Google I am the best SciPop person there is. Nobody knows it better than I do, and that is true. Nobody knows more about the SciPop than Lucas Burnley. Each of you in this room knows something about what you sell more than anybody else. My question for you is, does your website reflect that? From here on this big tree, I would start making other pages. Burnley History, that's going to link into SciPop History, right? I'm going to make Boker Quaken History, CRKT Squid History. That's all living on this website, and they're all linking together. I mean, I thought of this when I was preparing this. You could even link the CRKT Squid to Amazon and collect affiliate links, affiliate commissions on your own knife, sold on Amazon or sold on Blade. Like literally, owning this could be anything. But you have to be cognizant of that. Like people are going to be looking for the CRKT Squid. How does that relate to a SciPop? It's all something that he owns. It's his thing. And I think sometimes, especially as makers of things, we're like, hey, this is a licensed design with WE knives. I make knives with WE. I design for them. I have those on my website, knafs.com, because I want that SEO value, right? I sell those on my site because I want to be involved in that whole distribution cycle of that knife. So it depends on your strategy, but the reality is I think a lot of custom makers, a lot of designers, they're like, sweet, Boker's making it, hands off. I don't need to worry about it. When there's so much story, there's so much content that you could wrap around this. So think about that for your own site. Where should you be externally linking? Where should you be internally linking? From here, you could be linking to CRKT. Here, these are all external links. They're kind of hard to see, but they are orange. Those would be external links. External links help your site. They help somebody else's site too. So let's say linking the custom SciPops to Arizona Customs, one that is available. Cool. Here's a link to it. And maybe that's a dead link after time because the product goes out of stock, but basically you're telling Google, I matter, like on the internet. It sounds stupid, but like those external links to other places and those internal links and other backlinks, when other people link to you, that does good for your website. And Google says, you are relevant and we care about you. And then they move you up in the rankings. It's an amazing thing if you do it. Here's the steps to do that. Those are external links. What does Google want? They want relevant, useful, and well-organized content. So your site structure matters. How you link these things together. This should be a top-level category page. These should be category pages that all link together. Let me show you how that works on my site, not because I'm an expert, but it's fun to see. Okay, so on my site, here's how this works. We have, we have the Lander series. So right here, this is a category page. So I want to rank first for the Lander. Like that's non-negotiable. Like nobody should rank for the Lander. Like I have a trademark on that. Like if I'm going to take the time and money to pay for a trademark on the Lander, you better make for darn sure I am going to rank first for that. So, man, sorry guys, we're struggling here for just a second. And then we got Lander 1, Lander 2. So if I click on this top level category, each one of these is linking up into it. And you can see across the top, these are subcategories within the Lander. These are individual product detail pages within the Lander. Within this, we're internally linking to shop all Lander scales. We're linking to the step file for it. So there's this internal linking that's happening too. Now, I'm going to teach you a trick. We're going to go Control-Shift-N. We're going to go to an incognito tab, and we're going to type in knafs Lander. The reason we're doing an incognito tab is we don't want any of our prior search results or anything to influence what we see. Here's what that result looks like. Lander EDC pocket knife. We own the 1, 2, 3, and now 4 places in Google. That is what you want. Like if this is your product, this is like, nobody else can advertise on it, right? Nobody else can take that search result for me, and I just owned like the top 4 lists, 4 search engine results pages, the four first rankings are mine. And that's cool. That's money in the bank. When I worked at Blade HQ, you would be amazed at the amount of money lost when you move from placing 1 to placing 2. It's remarkable. You move down to 3 or 4, your revenue just does a nosedive. It's pretty intense. So that's how it works for me. I'm not saying I'm the best, but like making sure that we do that is a big part of my business and what I'm doing. Couple tools you can use. Some of you are going to look at these tools and be like, I know that, Ben. Totally cool. Some of you probably have never used these in your life, and that's okay. Google Analytics, which, by the way, just a little curveball for everybody. Google Universal Analytics sunsets on like July 1st. We're all hosed. If you're familiar. So Google Universal Analytics has been around for like 15, 20 years. They're moving to Google Analytics 4. It's a totally different world. Paul, you're nodding in agreement. It's very frustrating, but it is a powerful tool, and we're all going to have to learn how to use it. So if you are on Shopify, there's an easy way to move it over to GA4. You all need to do that. Otherwise, you're going to lose all of your data come like July 1st. So good luck. Google Search Console, amazing tool. That's going to give you your keywords, the things that people are using to find you. It's super useful tool. Keyword Planner, I mentioned that we can't do advertising, but you can still use Keyword Planner to use that to find keywords that people are searching for within your niche. It's kind of cool. The Art of SEO, has anybody read this? Oh, I'm so excited for you. It's a thick tome. It's crazy. So when I started at Blade HQ to manage their SEO team, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's very, very thick, but it is so good. This edition is from 2015. I just saw this morning that they're coming out with a new one, a September 2023 edition. I recommend it wholeheartedly. It will teach you how to make a foundation in SEO, even if you read 3 or 4 chapters. Highly, highly recommend. It's written by some of the best minds in SEO. And then these guys here, these are paid tools. Neil Patel has some free tools. But these are excellent. They are excellent paid tools. However, if you don't speak the language, the best book on German doesn't mean anything to you. This is your German book. These are how to communicate and order a pastry in German. Okay? So these tools you don't need until you understand this stuff. Okay? Couple other things. Can you participate in Google Ads? Some of you probably. These are the terms of service. Benchmade can. Let me show you how they do that. This is on the Wall Street Journal. You can tell I read really engaging content online. They're doing this through Google Ads. They're linking to the outdoor category on their website. And the way they're getting away with this, my suspicion, is because they're linking to the outdoor category, not the tactical or hunting or anything like that. They are simply saying, this is the outdoor category. I've also heard that they do pretty good because the knife is closed. So if you want to go down this rabbit hole, Gerber does it, Benchmade does it, but they usually do it in tricky ways where they'll either have a landing site that then links over to their main website. Benchmade has gotten away with it, I think, by linking to their outdoor category and probably submitting a case to Google Ads to get it through. Hey, these are UTM links. If you don't know what they are, look them up. They'll help you with your Google and tracking your things. We're not going into that, but here we go. Spyderco Forum, one of the most brilliant ideas of all time, has nothing to do with Spyderco's knives. It has to do with their forum. You ever look up a steel type or anything and you land on the Spyderco Forum? It's brilliant. I don't think they knew what they had when they created it 20 years ago. This has been up like 20 years. Literally, I don't think oh, here it is. Can somebody read that? Almost 3 million posts of user-generated content on the Spyderco Forum. Most brilliant idea Spyderco ever had because it's community-based and they own it. Oh, I love it. Another company that does this, printables.com, is owned by a printer company, a 3D printer company. They've created a community where you can upload and download 3D printed STL and STP files, CAD files. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. They own it, right? Facebook can't take this away from them. Meta can't walk in. This is theirs. And that's what I'm trying to tell you is think about your business in what you can actually own. Think about it that way because this is cool and this has long-term use. Who's the biggest knife retailer in the world? Shout it out. Who is it? Walmart, Amazon. Anybody, any other guesses? 100% it's Amazon, I guarantee it. 100%. How many of you are on Amazon? Okay, a few hands, I like it. How many hate Amazon? I'm gonna raise my hand real high on that. How many of you shop on Amazon? Okay, good, good. We're all dancing with this little devil called Amazon and Jeff Bezos. I had to put Jeff in here. And Jeff laughs as we dance with him. He loves it. He just bought a huge, huge yacht. It's great. Do I need to care about Amazon? My argument is yes, because of the conversation that we've been having here.
Amazon is a place where you can pay to play.
Which is pretty cool because we just talked about how you cannot pay to play on Google. So if you're selling autos or ballet songs, you're out in the cold. Sorry, you're done. You can't do Amazon. But if you're selling pocket knives, kitchen knives, whatever, you can pay to play. It's expensive, but you can do it. These are sponsored products, and then this is an organic result. First one for pocket knife. When we dive deeper into this, Amazon works in two different ways. There's 1P and 3P. If Lucas has a Spyderco Tenacious and I have a Spyderco Tenacious and we both have Seller Central accounts on Amazon, I can upload it, he can upload it. We all can sell on the same product page. So when you look at a 3P listing, these are other sellers. So when you look right here or down here, each one of these is attached to the same product listing. That's actually a really cool feature, and it's one of the geniuses of Amazon because all of us in this room could buy a Spyderco Tenacious, set up a Seller Central account, and sell on the exact same listing. I literally don't have to do any content. You can just sell out of your garage. Pretty dang cool. It has its downsides, but pretty dang cool that you can just walk in and do that. Let's look at this listing. This is a 1P listing. So the way that this works is Amazon actually cuts a PO to Smith & Wesson. They take control of the inventory. 3P, you still own the inventory. 1P, they take control of the inventory. They do huge POs. So CRKT, they sell direct 1P to Amazon. They're not a 3P seller. Spyderco, on the other hand, they use 3P sellers. They kind of have some picked and chosen people that they use. This is a review mode. Man, I wish you could see this a little better. This has like 43,000 ratings. So the reason this shows up first in search on Amazon is because there's what's called a review mode. Nobody else can get that many 4.6 star ratings to keep up. There's some cool features on Amazon too. This is a small business tag right down here. The parent company that owns Smith & Wesson, they did $250 million in revenue last year. They're publicly traded, but they have a small business tag. Think about that for a minute. That's not terrifying, right? Best sellers case study. So every listing on Amazon has a bestseller rank, and what that does is that is Amazon's algorithm saying this is important, this is not important. So down here, this is number 251. One of the cool things about Amazon is all of that data is public, so you can take it into a tool like Jungle Scout. You can plug in that rating, and it will tell you approximately how many units are sold every month. So this is selling 9,200 units. You can install another tool called Keepa that will tell you the approximate price, the actual price of this product over a year, and then you can pull data. Average sale price of $15.46. They probably did 1.7 million on the single SKU last year. That looks like good money to me. Like that's wild. So let's say you wanted to do some product research. You can actually plug that stuff into Jungle Scout, and it will kick out, hey, these are some best sellers that you might want to look at. The other really cool thing about Amazon is all of their reviews are public data. If you're a knife designer, this is a treasure trove. Like, not that you want to design a Smith & Wesson knife, but like, where can you find so much data about pocket knives? User generated, right? Like, this is cool. So even if you have no desire to be on Amazon, you should be looking at the survival listings for your survival store on Amazon to understand what users are talking about, what they're thinking about. Like, even if you never intend to do business with Amazon, you think Jeff Bezos is the devil, which he might be. I'm not sure, it's not confirmed. The amount of publicly available data on Amazon is remarkable. So should I be on there? Here's some pros, here's some cons. Couple things that you need to know. FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon. It's a beautiful thing. You send your inventory into Amazon, they ship it all for you. There's a new program called Buy with Prime. You can put a Prime badge on your website, and people can buy your Amazon inventory through your direct-to-consumer website. If you wanted to live in Bali and run a website, easy. That's beautiful. You'd never touch your inventory. Send it straight from your supplier. It's pretty dang cool. There's a lot of cons. It's time-consuming. It's complex. It's also rented land. They can change the rules on you at any time. We won't go too deep into this stuff. Couple last things that I want to talk about. Run your own race. Bluey, anyone? Yes, you're my people. If you're not familiar with Bluey, it's a show on Disney out of Australia. It's two dogs, two parent dogs and two children dogs. And one day the mother dog is talking to her children dogs, and the kids were kind of arguing about who's the best. And she sits them down and she tells them this story of like how she used to compare herself to others, and it like impacted her. And eventually she realized, like, I just need to run my own race. So I think as humans, we have a comparison problem. We all know that, but run your own race. I don't know what that means. What does it mean for you in your business? What is your race that you're trying to win? Is it SciPops? Is it custom Victorinox handles? I don't know, but run your race and figure out how it works. Social media, I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but one of my guys asked me the other day, shouldn't we be on TikTok? And I'm like, oh, TikTok. So many headlines, so many things. Melissa Backwoods is on there. Everyday Minimalist is on there. He actually got kicked off. He had 500,000 followers on TikTok, and they kicked him off outright. He has another account now. So should I be on TikTok? Here's the way I see this. This is your rented land top of funnel. So we always talk about in marketing, what's top of funnel? So some people are in lead generation. So like top of funnel is lead generation or whatever. For me, this stuff is top of funnel. It's stuff that I can't actually totally control. I can rent that land, but that should eventually lead to bottom of funnel, things that I own. So a podcast I could own. Email. Once I have somebody's email, I own that until they unsubscribe. Once they're on my website, I can make money from them, right? That is the goal here, is to take your rented land and turn it into owned land. Otherwise, TikTok will kick you off one day, or Instagram will shadow ban you, or whatever, right? We have to realize it's rented land, and you have to build your strategy around that. So my question for you is, should I be on TikTok? What's your strategy? If your strategy is to use TikTok to get people to email your email list, cool, do it. That could work, right? If your strategy is to use TikTok to get them to your website, cool, that could work. If your strategy is to make cat videos on TikTok, that could work. But I think you have to make that strategy and then own it. Last couple things I want to talk about. I feel like I'm moving so fast, and I apologize. There's so much that I get excited about with this. Have a plan. Going back to Bill Harsey, Blade HQ, and me almost wiring $9,000 to the wrong account when my supplier got hacked. I did not get hacked. My supplier intercepted the communication. They got hacked, and I nearly wired it to the wrong place. Thank heavens I did not. That would have been a lot of money. Let's talk about how this works. Hackers. How many of you have thought about hackers in your website? A few of you. This is good. Have any of you been hacked? A few of you. So from what I understand, a lot of hackers are, from this CNBC article, hackers are increasingly targeting small and medium-sized businesses. Who's a small and medium-sized business in the room? All of us, right? $7 billion in losses. This was in 2021, up 64% year over year. I'm not going to talk a ton about this, but phishing and hacking, here's 3 things that you can do in under an hour. Number 1, be password smart. I'd encourage you to use a password manager like LastPass or something like that. Encrypt your passwords. Don't share your passwords. Make sure that it's good. Turn on multi-factor authentication. Bill Harsey would have never been hacked if he had MFA turned on. Multi-factor authentication is basically saying before somebody can log into my account, they must come here, they must get a code, or they get a text message or whatever. A lot of hacking can be prevented by turning on multi-factor authentication. It's a pain in the butt. I hate it. But I'll be darned. It's working so far, right? Back up your site. How many of you back up your Shopify site? A few of you? This is good. You can literally pay like $7 a month for this Talon backup app, and it will back it up automatically. And we actually do a physical backup once a month as well, where we download it off the internet onto a hard drive. I know that sounds stupid, but if my website were to get hacked, I want to be able to get it back. And for $7 a month, that's peace of mind, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't have the brain power to deal with that. Be ever vigilant. 96% of phishing attacks arrive via email. I almost lost $9,000 via email. So if you're sending wire transfers, double check everything. If somebody changes a wire recipient, double check, verify. In fact, After this happened, I got on WeChat with the supplier and I said, we have a problem. We fixed the problem, but then I verified it via WeChat, totally outside of the email system. I know it sounds stupid, but I'm like, it's $9,000, and I'd rather not lose that if I could help it. Consider hiring a security consultant. That's been really helpful for us. So payment processors are another place that as an industry we have to be very thoughtful about. Scorpion 6 got kicked off of there. There's PayPal's policy, Shopify's policy, Square's policy. None of them are super knife friendly. Justin Lundquist got kicked off Shopify payments. Here are some options that are knife friendly from people that I've talked to. I don't recommend any of these. So knafs, we use Shopify and Shopify payments. Shopify payments is our gateway. They take a 2% cut. If you have to add one of these guys, they're also going to take a 2% cut as the payment processor. So you're going to lose money, but you can stay in business. The reason we can stay on Shopify payments right now is either they haven't caught us or we're just barely on the line of whatever Canadian gatekeeper at Shopify is gatekeeping. A couple other things for you. What about AI? We don't have a ton of time, but I want to talk about this part. Leave fingerprints. One of my favorite things to do, well, I'll talk about this in just a minute. Google Bard, I plugged in what is the most popular pocket knife. It immediately kicked out the Benchmade bug out. So I asked Bard, I said, where did that data come from? And it basically scraped online data to bring that to us. Totally fascinating. So I was like, wow, okay, tell me more. I asked it, what sales data from retailers did you use to determine the most popular pocket knife? They pulled it from Amazon, Walmart, and Cabela's. I was like, fascinating. What else can you do? So, but then it kicked out. It's going to be the paramilitary 2 at the end of the chat. At the beginning, we were going to start with a bug out. Now it's going to be paramilitary 2. I don't think it has all of its ducks in a row yet. But this is terrifying. If you're a consumer, like, how do we deal with this as an industry? I don't know. It's going to be wild. Hang on. Right? Be useful. I think that's the advice I'd give you. ChatGPT, I was curious, what specifications and features should I use it to design a best-selling folding knife? And it actually kicked out some really good stuff, like 2.5 to 3.5 inches, VG10, S3V, like that's not bad, right? So then I took it over to DALL-E, which is ChatGPT's AI imaging model, and I'm like, here's your specs, ready to go. And I think my job is safe for a minute.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who did it.
You did it too, right? But check out this corkscrew, guys. Like, this is good stuff, right? And I kept prompting it to try to maybe make something. And at the end of it, it kicked out this. I'm just teasing. That's my brand new knife. We just launched it on Kickstarter yesterday. A little self-promotion there. Real uses for ChatGPT. Create a web scraper that pulls inventory levels for all knafs products on Blade HQ. It kicked out a Python script in 30 seconds. I don't know Python, unfortunately. That's a coding language, and I hit a dead end. But could it scrape inventory? If I'm a brand, could it go and scrape? Like Maxie's sitting in the room, she buys my knives. Sometimes Maxie's goes out of stock, and I don't see it for a couple days. What if I had a scraper from ChatGPT that went in and scraped Maxie's inventory and pinged me when it hits a low inventory level? That's a cool real world use to me. Like, I don't know how to code yet, so we're going to hold that. But think about it in terms of that. I don't think it's going to design your knives. I don't think it's going to write your stuff for you, although it can, right? But there are some cool things that it will do. Fiverr. I paid $75 for this image at the beginning of the presentation. Third parties are great. Fiverr's great. You'd probably pay $300 for this if you did it domestically, depending on the graphic designer. I plugged that into DALL-E. This is what it gave me. I don't think it's there yet, but it's getting closer. Right? Do I need to pay $75 for a presentation image? Probably not. I like you guys, but you know, like, right? If I could have paid $15 for an AI-generated image, I would have been okay with that. And I think there's uses for artists, people that are really good. Like Paul and I have done collaborations together. I can't plug that into ChatGPT or DALL-E, but I could plug this presentation thing in there and maybe save myself some money, right? Lastly, here. This is Southern Utah. This is Jamie Greger. If you know Jamie, he makes videos. Sometimes he and I like to go backpacking. We go down to Southern Utah. One of my favorite things to do is you go in these canyons and you find, so up here in the cliffs, you'll find these dwellings, Native American dwellings. And one of my very favorite things is you walk up to these dwellings and you can actually see human fingerprints in the mud, mudded around it. It's almost a spiritual experience because there are no people there. There's no sign of life other than their dwelling. But they've left fingerprints. AI can't leave fingerprints. It doesn't have fingerprints. Each of you has a unique fingerprint, a unique style, a way of writing, a way of taking your pictures. That is your special sauce. Leave your fingerprints on what you're doing because nobody else has the same fingerprints and people love fingerprints. They love it. So I don't know your business very well. Sometimes I don't know my business very well, but one thing I love about my business is my website descriptions are ridiculous. Sometimes I write poems for screws. Go check it out one day. Look at knafs.com and look at the screw descriptions because I was having a fun day that day. Those are fun. Those are fingerprints. Figure out what your fingerprints are and then leave them all over the internet. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. I hope this was useful for all of you. And there you have it, guys. I hope it was super useful. Feel free to leave me comments, hate mail, whatever you need to down below, and I'll try to respond to it. Appreciate you watching. I can't believe you watched to the end of this thing. It was like an hour. Well done. Thanks.